Okay, here are a few quick, easy tips for standing a little more mindfully in your body. Many times people will come to a session and they will have a lot of habits that they have been conditioned or have been told as ways to get their body into better alignment, and most often all they are doing is just creating a new pocket of tension in another location. You know, things like pull your shoulders back, so they all of a sudden are pulling their shoulders back and getting a lot of tension around their neck because they've assumed a posture that's more collapsed. This is no better for your body than this. So trying to find that balance. Same thing with the pelvis. The pelvis does not move independently of the rest of the body. A great simple way to set your pelvis up in a more ideal position without positioning it and creating any unnecessary tension comes from the floor, feeling the floor. So here is a simple two-step little sequence to check in periodically. Anytime you're standing, you can check in and ask yourself, am I in that as close to ideal tension-free position for standing? Here's one habit we get into, right? We all have our favorite side of how to stand, and we tend to rely on that side and start building up a habit of standing on one leg. Over time, that leg is going to get stronger. The other side is going to get lazier, and before you know it, you can't stand on this side without fatiguing, so you keep throwing yourself onto that strong side. So, simple. First, to find out, do I have a side? Do I have a preference? So shifting your weight into one leg, staying there, make sure you're breathing, but be mindful and stay there for a minute and ask yourself, does this feel like home? Does this feel comfortable? Then try the other side. You might have to do both before you really know. And live there for a moment, breathe, notice, and you will most likely determine one side is your favorite. So, and before you do that, you may not even be able to sense if your weight is balanced or heavy to one side. So do that little side-to-side shift, and then see if you can find that 50-50, equal weight distribution through both legs. Now, you may have to do a couple little baby bends and straightening with the legs in order to assess that preference to maybe drift more onto one side. You may not be able to sense it being static. You might have to get a little bit more dynamic to get that sense of equal weight. So that's number one. Number two, I'm going to turn sideways, is you may have a tendency to have your weight, more forward on the balls of the feet. Now, the only way I can get my weight into the balls of the feet is if I send my pelvis forward. And when that happens, I have to then adjust in the upper body and lean back. And then finally, I will probably adjust again in the neck to bring my head forward. So this is a really common postural stance. See how good I am at doing that? So getting your weight centered can be as simple as asking yourself to find that balanced weight between the forefoot and the hind foot. Toes, when you're standing, you don't really need them for balance. They're decorations. So pick up all 10 toes and now get your weight balanced between the heel and the ball of the foot. And you can notice when I lift my toes and get my weight balanced, my pelvis automatically comes back into more of a straight line with the rest of my body. And then the kicker, the trick, is to see if you can drop the toes and not assume that same posture. That will happen if you're not staying with it, if you're not mindful. So lift the toes, get the weight, and you can see just by bringing my pelvis back, the rest of my spine, including my head and neck, falls into place. So I don't have to position every single aspect of the spine. I just have to use the feedback of the weight of my feet on the floor to bring my pelvis into position and trust that the rest of the spine is going to follow suit. You want to make sure you're breathing as you find that position. And I'm going to leave it there. We can keep going and work our way through the whole body. But those two simple little awareness check-ins are two great, easy ways for you to stay in your body throughout the day.